Anyway, so we gotta make life multiplanetary before it's too late.
Yeah. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, why not? It's be fun and exciting, and even if you don't go, you can just watch it on TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's still cool. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, you know, it's not like attendance is mandatory here. And it'll be dangerous, and people might die.
Well, for sure they're going to die. Right?
Yeah. Like sometimes, maybe surprised. Some people think that the idea is like, oh, Mars is going to be an escape hatch, some luxury resort for rich people. I'm like, no, it's like high probability of death relative to Earth. It's long journey. Food's probably not great. A lot of hard work.
No sunlight.
Yeah, it's like it sounds like Shackleton's ad for the Antarctic, where it's
Right.
like it's dangerous. It's a long journey. The food's bad. You might not make it back, but if you do, it'll be glorious.
Yeah, it's interesting how much people adapt when they're faced with a real problem. Like, if we knew that we only had a certain amount of time left, like if we knew an asteroid was absolutely headed our way and it was going to kill most of the people on this planet, you would see people scrambling for something like that.
Yeah.
Like, look, I moved to Texas just to get the fuck out of L.A. because I felt like that was dying. I was like, we got to get out of here. And I never thought I was going to move out of L.A. like that.
Yeah.
It happened very quickly, but people adapt when they realize that you have to do something.
Yeah.
If we had to do something, we had to go to Mars and had to set up shop there.
Yeah, I think it's important for the future of humanity and consciousness. And like I said, we want to get past the great filter. It might turn out that when we go out there exploring the galaxy, we might find a whole bunch of dead one-planet civilizations. And they just never made it to the next planet. And
Ghost towns.
Yeah, strange ghost towns of like, it's like if we'll go through the archaeological ruins of like ancient Babylonians and Sumerians and and like trying to decode their writing, like what the hell linear be and hieroglyphics and.
Isn't that a problem with us now that everything has become digital? Everything's stored on microchips and hard drives, and if something catastrophic happened, and you don't have the ability to access all that stuff, we're kind of starting from scratch.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of problematic that things aren't chiseled in stone. They used to be chiseled in stone, and we're like, okay, now, it's kind of a pain in the ass to destroy stone, and stone lasts a long time.
Yeah.
So we still have a lot of writing from the ancient Romans because they chiseled a lot of stuff in stone.
Or the Egyptians.
Oh, the Egyptians, yeah, exactly. Man, the Egyptians really went to town with the hieroglyphics.
Or even the Sumerians, the cuneiforms carved into clay tablets.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But us?
We kind of wish they'd said more. Yeah, exactly. Like
Right.
us. And like, our stuff is, it's not going to last for a long time. I mean, there's sort of aspects of our stuff that would last for a long time, but a lot of the interesting things are going to be lost forever.
Yeah.
For when we did the Falcon Heavy test flight, normally when aerospace companies do like a rocket test flight, they put something boring on like a concrete block because they don't want to risk an expensive satellite. And so I was like, well, we got to do something that's not very inspiring. This concrete block's one of the least inspiring things you can do. So I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said, hey, well, what about putting a Tesla on that? And I was like, hey, that sounds like a good idea. I'm going to go into my garage. I'll put that one in there. So I put my car on the rocket, and then we wanted to see how far the rocket could go. So I was like, just, floor it. Let's go. Maximum delta V. So I thought it would probably blow up, and I had this image of like, man, I was like, this thing could blow up on the pad, and there's like a tire bouncing down the road, and then the Tesla logo just lands, bam, right in front of the camera. It's like one of the things I feel like this is a movie, that's kind of one of the possible outcomes. And unfortunately, it didn't blow up, and now my car is orbiting Mars.
Wow.
Yeah. So now in that car, so now hopefully somebody in the alien civilizations in the future could find that because it'll be like around for like millions of years.
I've seen the images of it with the...
It looks fake.
It looks
That's
fake.
how you know it's real.
Is that how you know it's real?
Yeah.
How do the images get to us?
It's the images are too lame to be fake. They look good, but for example, the dynamic range of the camera is not enough to pick up the stars and the vehicle. Because like things are very bright in space. There's no like we don't quite realize it, but in the the atmosphere is making everything a little fuzzy, and in space things are super crisp and super like really reflective. Yeah,
There it is.
Yeah, exactly. So
So how is that getting to us?
with
The
a
image.
yeah with a radio.
Wow.
So the rocket's got
How many megapixels is that image?
not that many actually.
Really?
No, I mean it's probably a couple megapixels, something like that.
So like an old flip phone.
Yeah. It's mostly just driven by the what's the bandwidth of a video signal.
So what do you have?
So these are frame grabs from the video signal.
And where's the camera that's taking this photo?
Oh man, our director of photography is awesome.
But I mean, when this thing gets sent to us, what is taking an image of this?
There's a camera on a stick.
Really?
Yeah.
And it didn't break off?
No. I mean, we thought it might, but there's a camera. I mean, it's kind of a fairly wide angle, and like so the camera is actually not that far from the car.
What is that one up there that shows the whole car? Is that fake?
That's fake.
Is that real?
That's real.
Wow. It says "Don't panic" on the screen.
Yes. Don't panic.
Speaking of the Roadster, when is that thing going to be available?
Next generation Roadster. So we're finishing the engineering of it this year, and so hopefully start shipping them next year.
Really?
Yeah. And that we're gonna throw some rocket technology in that car. So
Yeah, I've heard about that. What does that mean?
So at a minimum, it would be.
Will it hover?
I wanted to hover, and I'm trying to figure out how to make this thing hover without, killing people.
Right. Yeah. Good call.
Yeah, exactly. I thought like maybe we could make it hover, but like not too high. So like maybe
Right.
it can hover like a meter above the ground or something like that. Like if you plummet, you blow out the suspension, but you're not going to die. So maybe you go 6 feet. I don't know, 6 feet, probably okay. You're not going to die either.
Probably not.
Probably not. So if we just put a height limit on it, probably fine.
And would it be able to travel while it's hovering?
Yeah.
So you'll be able to go 6 feet off the ground and go how fast?